Hello. So I have a fun video tonight. I'm gonna talk about all things Natasha Denona, that I own anyway, because I do not own all of her things because I am but a 21-year-old single mother who still in fact spends her money on Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes. So let me preface this. I'm gonna go over all of the products I own in chronological order as to how I got them and then how I feel, kind of mini reviews as I go, and then I'll like use the products so you can see how they work. But people will ask other people all the time like, oh, is a Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette worth it? And it's like, well, this is very dependent. This is very, very dependent. Not only on your preferences. The Natasha Denona formula is good. There's no doubt about it. There's not a ton of controversy regarding that. It's whether it's worth the price tag. Most of her palettes retail for about $130 or more, sometimes less if you have the smaller ones. So they are very, very expensive. If you are somebody who thinks no eyeshadow palette is worth $130, no. They will not be worth it for you. They did not. There are eyeshadows for a lower cost that are better or just as good. I just personally like the brand as a whole. I just like the aesthetic of it really, and I don't know. I think the artistry behind it is amazing. I love the color stories of the palette, so that's kind of my feel on the brand. So let me just get into what I own, what I love, things like that. My first ever Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette was the Blue-Brown palette. Now this one is not one I get a lot of use out of. I use this mainly for freelancing if I'm doing wedding makeup on somebody, or sometimes for myself if I want to do like a quick easy one shadow kind of glittery look, I'll use this palette. This is not, I don't gravitate towards neutrals very well, even though there are the greens. There's not a lot of mattes in here. It's mainly metallics and the shimmers are beautiful, but this palette is $230. Roughly. I got this for Christmas. I did not buy this, and I'm very grateful that I got it because I do get use out of it for freelancing and it works just absolutely perfectly for that. But I would not, this is not one I would say you need to have unless this is a color story you really love and, oh Jesus, I felt. Unless this is a color story that you really, really love and you want to fork out $230 for some eyeshadows. I don't see that ever happening for most people, but if you're one of those people, yeah, it's a good palette. I like it. I can't remember if I got the gold palette first. I know I got the gold palette for Christmas. This is one of my absolute favorite eyeshadow palettes. If I go for neutrals, I am going to reach for this palette. Even blues. Obviously there's only the two blues in here. The colors in here are so incredible. There is nothing like this palette to me. This is everything. There's like topper shades, there's like a lot of these are just sheer washes of glitter, but they totally transform like whatever eyeshadow you have underneath. 10 out of 10. This is my favorite Natasha Denona palette ever. I just love it. Even though I don't wear neutrals, I can get a banging look out of this and I love it. The product I got along with this for Christmas, Rachel got me this, was the Face Glow foundation. I'm running fairly low on this. This is one of the best foundations I've ever tried. This is also very dependent on your preferences. So this one isn't like, an $100 foundation or anything. This foundation retails for $40 or $45, I believe. Something in that range, still like a standard high-end foundation. You do get 1.01 fluid ounces and there's an SPF of 15 in here. This does not count as your daily SPF, don't get it twisted. But I love this foundation. The shade range needs major work, might I say. They did expand it a little bit, but it's still not very good. But this is such a good foundation if you want just sheer, dewy, glowy goodness. I personally apply this with a sponge because it has a, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a tacky, moussey whipped formula, which is weird considering it's a lightweight skin-like foundation. I have never found a foundation that looks quite as much like skin as this. This is sheer coverage, okay? This is not full coverage. This is not medium coverage. This is sheer light if you build it. That's it. But I love her. Thank you, Samantha Ravendahl. I don't know if I got this before or after the gold palette. I just can't remember. This is the Natasha Denona Cranberry Palette. Rachel also got this for me. A lot of these were gifted to me because I'm very drawn towards Natasha Denona. I love this palette. This is actually, aside from the gold palette, this is probably one of my favorites. you can get such a gorgeous, like, cohesive look with all these shades. You get 2 mattes and 3 shimmers, and they perform so well. I love this purple here. It's got like the most beautiful shift to it, as well as some glitter. And then this like orangey copper shade here, it's just so beautiful. The mattes in here though are not a typical Natasha Denona matte formula. Her matte formula is very pigmented, but also has some powder kick up. Like, it's not a firmly pressed shadow. These are more firmly pressed. You can get good pigment out of them, but they almost have like a cream formula. That's the best way to describe it. It's not a cream formula, but it is a very like dense powder formula. So you do gotta either pack this on with a dense brush and do kind of a reverse blending technique kind of thing with these, or you'll just want to build them up a lot. But for that reason, I think this is very, very user friendly, and I love this palette. This one is $45, I believe is the retail price, which is very expensive for a 5-pan palette, but I think it's worth it. This one I think is worth it. My camera ran out of storage on me real quick there. Let me continue. This is the Natasha Denona Bloom Blush and Glow palette. This is one of my most used palettes for blush or highlight, I think, ever. We've hit pan on the highlight shade. It's gorgeous. It's a little too deep for me when I'm this fair. It's beautiful when I'm tan. If you're medium skin tone, this highlight should work great on you. If you're fair, probably not. If you're light, maybe. But then you have a cream glow. This I use as like a peachy blush. I really like this as a blush, not so much as a highlight. It's a little too deep and it doesn't have a lot of glow action for me. And then there's this deeper one, which I like to mix these two a lot as well. This is beautiful on deeper skin tones. There is a dupe from Flower Beauty though, if you're looking for this blush shade in particular and you do have a deeper complexion. It's called Bitten, I believe. And then there's this blush here, which I also love. It's got a gorgeous shift to it, like a peachy gold shift. Not like a NARS Orgasm kind of thing, but like, you know, similar idea, like that peachy gold kind of shift, but this doesn't have any like glitter chunks in it. I've also seen Jackie Aina use this as a highlight as well, so if you're really any skin tone, you can make some of these products work for you. I highly recommend this. This retails for $55, I believe. Next, because I wanted to delve into more base products from Natasha Denona, this is the Sculpt and Glow palette. I got this during the last Sephora VIB sale. This is one of my favorite contour palettes. I don't contour a lot anymore. You do get 3 creams up here. You have this little flap to cover them, same with like the Bloom palette, as well as 3 powders. So it's a cream highlight, a powder highlight, a cream contour, a powder contour, a cream under eye highlight, kind of like a concealer deal, and then a setting powder. I do love all of these products. My favorite has got to be the cream contour. It's warm enough to use as a bronzer, but it's not so warm that it's like orangey. You can definitely contour with it. This is a like an $100 palette. I think it's like $98 or something stupid like that, but I get so much use out of this. I don't regret buying it at all. So if you're willing to fork out that money, you might really like this. There are only 2 shades available. This is the light medium one, and then there's a medium to deep. If you're, I've seen some reviews on that one. If you're deep, you can probably use it. If you're in more like the deep dark category, I would stay far away from it because it's not going to be dark enough for you. But I do really love this. Next, this is the Natasha Denona Tropic Palette. I do really like this palette. There are a couple of things I have some qualms with, if you will. The matte formula, no problems there. It is, I feel, different than her other mattes. It's just not as rich in pigment as the others, though they do work well. These are like a typical matte eyeshadow formula, which there's nothing wrong with that. But this palette retails for $130. I got this one on sale for $99, I believe, and I do really like it. My favorite shade is the shade Mint Frost up here. This is just a gorgeous sparkly tealy mint color, just nothing like it. It's so good. But the green in here I have some issues with, as well as the deep blue. I can use them both. You'll just need to wet your brush or use a finger. The green I just find gets hard panned fairly quickly if you use your finger or a wet brush, so that's a major flaw in this. And then like regular Natasha Denona mattes, when you use like this matte brown here, say, it translates much deeper on the eyes than it looks in the pan, which is something I really love because I like a very, very deep matte. I just do. I love a matte black. I love a dark, dark brown. I love a dark, dark purple. This does not do that for me. The colors are beautiful. They're just not, there's not as much saturation in these. I do like this palette. It's fun to have the color in here. I would not recommend you buy this though, unless you're somebody who is willing to take the risk on, you know, not loving this, I would get, if you're looking for color, I would get something like the Be Perfect Carnival palette or the Carnival XL, or even like some ColourPop palettes would do the trick just as well as this. So this one I don't find worth the money. I'm glad I purchased it because I do get use out of it, but it's not like, it's not my ride or die shadow palette, if that makes sense. Okay, this is the Natasha Denona Sunrise palette. We did a palette of the week series using this. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous warm tone palette. These mattes are gorgeous. These shimmers are gorgeous. There's duochromes. I really love this, and I love that this is smaller than her typical palettes because this retails for $65, which is not cheap by any means, but it's more along like a typical high-end palette. It's a little more expensive than like a Naked palette, but it's very similar in that sort of price range realm. So if you are looking to try Natasha Denona's formula, I would recommend you do one of these or one of the 5-pan palettes, because I just think it's so good. And if you're into this color story, I don't see you being disappointed. It's stunning. There's nothing. It's stunning. I don't know what else I can say than that. And then this is the Natasha Denona Tan palette. This is like the sister to the Bloom palette, if you will. This highlight here is very similar to the Anastasia and Amara, I don't know. Her highlight that is now discontinued that people still lust after. This reminds me very much of that. It's the same formula type where there's no powder kickback, but it's this stark, not quite icy, but very gold, very, very blinding highlight. So this is really beautiful. Not my personal highlight favorite, just because I decluttered the Amarizi highlight from ABH. It's not my all-time favorite. It was good, but it didn't do much for me. And then you have two cream products up here as well. This is a powder bronzer / contour, and then this is like a cream glow and a, I don't even know, I can't read the words on the back. Basically, this is like a gold highlighter if you're deeper, and then this is like a cream highlight as well. I like to use these underneath this bronzer shade so I can get use out of all the colors, and it adds like a nice glow element, which you know me and my glow girls, I like her. And last here, this is my most recent purchase. This is the Natasha Denona Lila palette. I have not played with this as much yet. I've tried this, I did one look with it, and then I tried to do another look with it, but I was having a really off day, and so I just took it off because I hadn't gotten much sleep. So I'm going to be using this one today because I want to play with it. But this is my kind of color story. I love purples, I love pinks, and I love cool tones. Need I say more? I can't tell you if this is worth it yet, but upon swatching it feels typical to like her gold palette kind of thing. So it feels like a typical Natasha Denona formula, so I am very excited to use this. So now that we've got all the rambling out of the way, I'm gonna do this. I'm going to try something that might end in, you know, major failure and heartbreak. I'm going to prime my eyes with the like the concealer type shade from the Sculpt and Glow palette, only because I want to keep this as full Natasha Denona as possible. This does not have a ton of opacity to it, but it's not sheer by any means either. It's got some pigment to it, but it's not like a full coverage concealer or anything, and it is quite tacky, so this probably wouldn't work well as for like making your eyeshadows last, I guess. Okay, so starting off, I'm going to take a Morphe M514. It's just this kind of really mangled blending brush we got going on. It's a little smaller, and I'm going to dive into this like taupey gray shade up here, this matte, and I'm going to be doing like a cut crease kind of thing, I believe. We'll see. Okay, I don't think I'm going to be doing like a full-on cut crease. I kind of want to do one of those like domey, my favorite kind of shape is like this domey kind of eye cut crease, like a half cut crease, you know, because I'm basic. In the pan, I don't know if you can even tell, but in the pan it doesn't look that deep. On my eyes it translates a lot deeper. They also have these little plasticky sheets that are kind of annoying. They don't really bother me that much, honestly, but like I don't feel that they're that necessary. So, I mean, you can cut them off or whatever. I feel like it's worth like $50, you know, so I don't want to do that. Next, I'm going to take this pencil brush. This is from Unicorn Cosmetics. I don't know if the pencil brush is like the technical name for this, but I'm going to dip into this shade right here, which has some shimmer to it, but it's not like a metallic by any means, and it's like a charcoaly gray kind of color, so I think that'll pair nicely. And I am just going to deepen things up a smidge. And as most palettes could, I believe this could use a matte black. Don't drag me, I just like a matte black, okay? And I will say that until the day I die. I'm gonna go back in with that initial Morphe brush, and I'm gonna blend out the edges. There's no additional product on here, it's just kind of left over from what I had to begin with. And typical of Natasha Denona's formula, I'm having no issues blending. I don't find that a lot of shadows go patchy on me unless they're like a matte purple or a matte blue, but most of the time shadows are pretty easy, especially neutrals. Cool tones though I find are a little trickier. I've had some issues with patchiness with cool tones, so these perform very well upon my impression at the moment. Open that up with a black. I might cheat and go in with a black later, and you can't drag me because I can do what I want. This is my channel. But I'm gonna go in with this shade right here. This is gonna be a fairly simple kind of neutral eye. It's like, I don't know, it's just the most beautiful like taupey color. I need to use it. Okay. So I'm gonna take that on this e.l.f. concealer brush, and I'm probably gonna spray that because I find that her shimmers do have fallout, and even though I do my eyes first, I don't want fallout, so I'm like totally off center. Kind of like a cut creasy kind of thing. Not with concealer though, because I don't got time for that. I'm gonna keep layering that until I get my desired look here. Okay, and then I'm gonna flip that brush, and I'm gonna go into this purple here. I'm just dying to use this shade as well, and I'm going to put that on the outer portion of that cut creasy thing we got going on here. And I'm gonna just try to blend those together as best as possible. I'm not spraying that purple shade, by the way, because I don't want that. Oh, frick. Got it on my lid. Well, screw it. We're doing the purple all over. So I am gonna wet it, actually. I'm gonna go in with my finger. That other shade underneath it is just causing it to be a little more sheer than I'd like, so I'm gonna... I think this is my fault. I don't believe this is Natasha's fault. If it is, Natasha, how dare you steer me wrong like this? I paid a lot of money for this palette. This does not look like what I want it to look like, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the same thing that I just did. I'm gonna do it off camera. And I'm going to do it with the purple and not that taupey shade instead. I'll be right back. Okay, well, alright, well, I keep working it out. I am determined to make this video good. Determined. Listen. And for my finishing touch, I'm gonna grab an eyeliner pen. I'm gonna do some detail work on my face. This is gonna be a very like avant-garde kind of look. See that? Can you read what that says? Closer look. Yes. You saw that correctly. She's Well, while we're here, I might as well do some swatches of my favorite colors on my face because I already look like a freaking disaster. This is the shade. I don't know. This is the purple shade from the Cranberry Palette right here. Looks like so. Do you see? She's stunning. She's beautiful. I love her with my whole soul. Okay, and then next we have the orange shade from the Cranberry Palette. This is what this guy looks like. She's also gorgeous. Yes. Do you see that? She's lovely. And then, let's see, what else do we have? Ooh, the gold palette. Let's see, let me. Brass, the shade Brass. This one right here. Watch, I'm gonna put this. Did you? Do you see that shine? Okay, and then another good shade from here is this blue one right here. I'm not even gonna look at the name because I don't give a booty hole. This is more of a topper shade, but damn, is it gorgeous. She's really pretty. And then, oh frick, I'm gonna do Mint Frost from the Tropic Palette. This one has lots of fallout, but this is just, ooh, this is a really good one. Rachel, you are in for a shock when you do this video, I'm telling you. The Sunrise palette, just so you can see. This is the shade Aster. Aster is very pretty. She's a purpley duochrome. She looks like this. She's not as impactful as the other shimmers I've tried from Natasha, but she's very good. And let's do this. Like, this one has like a blue-green shift. It's really cool. So I'll swatch her too, right here. Very cool. Very nice. Fantastic. And then lastly, might as well just do one more. I'll do like the olive green shade right here. It doesn't look very olive on camera, but I promise it is. This one's pretty good as well. Right under eyes? Right, can you see that one? Yeah, that one's really pretty. I love the olive. I love the olive tones. Right, let me do another layer. Ooh, yeah, she's gorgeous. To conclude this video, even with eyeshadow palettes that cost you your rent, your income, the cost of birthing a child at a hospital, even palettes that cost you more than you're worth, you can still fuck it up. You can still screw up a look when you're using an eyeshadow palette of the highest quality, which is Natasha Denona, in my humble opinion. And yeah, you can be a good artist and you can screw up. That is the I don't even know what to say anymore. This did not take the turn that I expected. Rachel, I would like to formally apologize to you while you edit this. This is gonna be one hell of a video. I hope that you guys will stick around at some point for another video from us. I know after this it might be, you know, I don't blame you if you don't, but you know, you got some good swatches, you got some demos of the base products at least. Those looked pretty good. That eyeliner pen was not Natasha Denona, but worked flawlessly for my loser writing on my cheekbone. And yeah, I mean, if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, leave it a comment. Do you mess up your makeup this bad sometimes, or what happens to you? I'd love to find out, but thank you for watching. Thank you. Thank you for being there for me, and I pray I see you in the next video. Have a lovely night.